Na tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, tutakusihi tutazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jambo hii yetu. Tunakuomba utuajalie tuyatende na kufikia mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao wamezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen.
Please take seats. We do have quorum, so we'll split away. Go to this Clerk, you may now call the first roll.
Order number 1, communication from the chair. Order number 2, hearing and determination on the proposal removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Gachagua'S, DGH, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya.
We give such ample time to parties so that they can adequately present the cases. Now, as of yesterday, the Deputy President had located 3 hours. 1 hour was taken away. Other businesses yesterday and today. That is pursuant to a request by Council to the Deputy President, and therefore to speak, the Deputy President will have 2 hours to
present his case, and thereafter the National Assembly will have 1.5 hours, because they've also consumed half an hour of the 2 hours that had been granted to them yesterday. So you had borrowed 10 minutes, you ended up consuming 20 more minutes as per our record. Council, this is not a matter to debate.
Mr. Speaker, so I just wanted to clarify that we had borrowed 10 minutes.
Yes, you borrowed 10 minutes, but you ended up consuming 20 more.
No. We did get that indication, Mr. Speaker. In fact,
now you're getting the indication.
Yes. We had budgeted our time knowing that we had 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Consume the 1 hour and a half, and then let's see where that takes you, and we'll be able to engage when you consume the 1.5 hours.
We are most obliged, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Senior Counsel Paul Mwite, if you're ready, you may usher in your witness.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, just to get clarification, I was under the impression that the National Assembly will proceed and close their case, and that then Counsel for the Deputy President will now present the Deputy President, who is the only one that we are calling as a witness. and that thereafter the National Assembly will make their closing speech, and we will have the opportunity at that time to also make our closing speech. So I would like to have clarification.
Very well, Senior Counsel. Maybe I'll read the whole program all the way to the end.
Thank you.
You will proceed. Of course, for the record, I will ask the National Assembly to officially rest their matter to allow you usher in your witness. Once your witness takes to the stand, you have 2 hours to present your case. The National Assembly has 1.5 hours for purposes of cross-examination. Thereafter, the senators will have 1 hour to seek clarifications or ask questions. Once that is done, the counsel for the National Assembly will have 1 hour to make closing remarks. Likewise, the team of the Deputy President will be given 1 hour to make its closing remarks. Once that is done, the Senate will move into a closed session as per our rules of procedure. So that is the program for this afternoon.
I'm now very clear, Mheshimiwa Speaker, and I thank you. The situation is now clear. But just before my colleagues on the other side close their case, can I, through Mheshimiwa Speaker, ask whether the National Assembly still wishes to call a witness whose affidavit was filed, the governor of the county government of Nairobi, Johnson Sakaja. We have a copy of his affidavit. Is he going to be called or not called? Because if the National Assembly is not calling that affidavit, whose affidavit is part of the record and was availed to us, that affidavit, Mheshimiwa Speaker, contains allegations that are extremely injurious to the Deputy President. So if he is not going to be called, we will be making an application for that affidavit to be expunged from the records of this Honorable Senate. Thank you.
Counsel for the National Assembly, you had listed quite a number of witnesses. Are you going to call all of them, or are you going to, for the record, are you going to close your case where we are?
Mr. Speaker, sir, on behalf of the National Assembly, we shall close our case where we are. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you are with your permission, I could respond to the submissions by my learned senior, Mr. Paul Moite.
Please do.
Mr. Speaker, sir, at the beginning of the proceedings that we are currently going through, this House did invite parties to give indications as to the witnesses they wanted to call. Mr. Speaker, sir, we gave the list of the witnesses whom we thought were relevant for purposes of clarifying what we needed to have clarified. If counsel for His Excellency the Deputy President did not do as much or did not take advantage of that window that was open, surely they cannot blame us for it. But secondly, and more importantly, Mr. Speaker, sir, yesterday, in the course of the deliberations in relation to one of the preliminary questions that had been raised, you gave a very clear ruling on the intendment of Rule 20 of the rules of this House. In particular, the understanding was that every material that was forwarded by the Speaker of the National Assembly to this House constituted evidence in support of the allegations that are the subject of inquiry by this House. It then follows that if the application that learned senior counsel, Mr. Paul Muita, is making were to be looked at in its totality, he is actually making an application to amend or to remove certain aspects of the evidence from the record. Mr. Speaker, sir, that is an issue that you settled and rested yesterday. I don't think it's an issue that is open for re-intervention. Mr. Speaker, sir, it should also suffice to note that even on our side, there are affidavits that form part of the record that came from the National Assembly. In particular, there is an affidavit sworn and which is in favor of His Excellency the Deputy President, an affidavit sworn by the joint executors of the will, that is Mr. Njoroge Rigeru, together with the other executors. It is part of this record. We have not made an application to have it expand. We have an opportunity to deal with it when the time comes. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nature of the sittings that this House currently is undertaking is quasi-judicial. It is inquisitorial in nature. If that is to be the correct position, Mr. Speaker, sir, then the rules of evidence as we know it in the court would not necessarily bind the proceedings, because what has been presented is the subject of what the honorable senators are going to investigate. At the end of it, it is not a judgment that they will be giving, it will be a vote. I rest my case, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senior Counsel Paul Muita.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, first and foremost, the affidavits that my colleague, my learned friend, referred to were sworn by the executors of the will of the late brother to the Deputy President. They were filed in the National Assembly, in the proceedings in the National Assemblies. They were never filed here as affidavits of witnesses that we proposed to call. With regard to the affidavit of Governor Sakaja Johnston, it was specifically filed in the Senate, an affidavit of a witness that they intended to call. That affidavit has material injurious to the Deputy President. Mheshimiwa Speaker, we were looking forward to cross-examining Governor Sakaja so as to bring out the truth, to assist this Honorable Senate to make a decision. If he is not being called, then in fairness to the Deputy Governor, all that we are asking is that affidavit be expurged, together with the affidavit of Peterson Jomo, who they are not calling now, and also the affidavit of Mercy Wajau, who is not being called. It is not fair to file affidavits containing information allegations injurious to the other party, then ask that those affidavits to remain as part of the record without calling them and availing them for cross-examination. So my application is that the three affidavits be struck out. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, just for clarity, there is absolutely no new material that was presented after the material that was sent to this House from the National Assembly. For instance, the affidavit by His Excellency Johnson Sakaja is to be found at volume 1 of the documents that have been filed.
Maybe Counsel for the National Assembly, let me get it clear.
Yes,
the
Mr.
affidavit by the Nairobi governor, was it filed after the proceedings of the National Assembly, or it forms part and parcel of the proceedings that came from the National Assembly?
it forms part and parcel of the proceedings that came from the National Assembly. In particular, Mr. Speaker, sir, all those affidavits form what constituted part of what came into through public participation.
So just hold in that so that we make progress. Senior counsel, you have indicated that the affidavit by the Honorable Governor for Nairobi did not form part of the documents that emanated from the National Assembly. Now, the position as held by the Council of the National Assembly is to the contrary. These are things we can settle now. Did it come with a bundle of documents from the National Assembly, or it was filed after the Senate was seized of those documents?
Mheshimiwa Speaker, I have been corrected by my colleagues. The affidavits where the affidavit by Governor Johnson Sakaja was actually part of the public participation. So it was part of the record of the National.
So now,
yes,
let's move to the two.
Yes.
Let's move to the two. Now, have a seat, Senior Counsel. Counsel for the National Assembly.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yeah, respond to the two more affidavits, because the contention from the Council of the Deputy President is that they were filed after the record was received from the National Assembly by the Senate.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I reiterate the position that we earlier on gave, that there's not any single document other than the document that was admitted yesterday pursuant to our application that came in after the record had been presented before this House.
So the affidavits were not filed after the Senate received the bundle of documents from the National Assembly?
Absolutely not.
Can you lead us to the volume and the page containing these affidavits from the National Assembly?
Mr. Speaker, sir, just give me 1 minute to consult with my colleagues here. I identify it, then I bring it. It's not an issue that we had anticipated.
Yeah, so that we settle this matter.
Most of that.
Yeah, let's settle it.
It is, Mheshimiwa Speaker, it's only the affidavit of Peterson Jomo that was filed in the Senate. It did not form any part.
Very well,
of the National Assembly.
So then let's settle that one and we make progress. We need not argue on this matter.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I think what happened is that we skipped the opportunity to identify the documents from both sides of what had been filed. The documents that we filed yesterday has a volume 8. That is the document that contains the affidavit of Peterson Jomo.
So it is that affidavit, if you go to the Senior Counsel, it is that affidavit that they're looking forward to cross-examining the deponent. Now that you've closed your case, the argument from the Council of the Deputy President is, how then are we going to test the truth of those averments? What say you on that?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I did give an indication that, number one, at the commencement of these proceedings, any party who wanted to cross-examine any of the deponents of any of the documents had an opportunity, upon your invitation, to invite such parties to appear before them. If our counterparts appearing for His Excellency the Deputy President did not find it appropriate to call that witness at that point in time, they cannot now hold us to say that you had said you'd call this person, you will not call them. Because the person we were to call was for purposes of clarifying what we thought was important for us. Now, this being an inquisitorial proceeding, a quasi-judicial proceeding, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think it would be a stretch to expect that if we didn't call or if we didn't avail any of the witnesses that were mentioned in any of the affidavits, then as of necessity that follows that record or that affidavit needs to be expunged. That's what I was saying. Pursuant to your ruling yesterday, that is evidence and material that was presented yesterday. It forms part of your record.
Now, before I give my way forward, Senator for Nairobi City.
Honorable Speaker, the counsel that are appearing in this case are people that I hold in extremely high regard. Senior Counsel Paul Muite appears to not have the confidence of the judges sitting here that we know how to treat evidence contained in an affidavit that is not tested at cross-examination. Even the judges you appear before in the courts that you practice in know what to do with evidence of a person who is not availing themselves for cross-examination. So, Honorable Speaker, I really don't understand what the contention is, because we sitting here as judges know how to treat that evidence, and I wanted to take this opportunity to calm the anxiety of Senior Counsel Paul Mwite that indeed we do know what to do with such evidence.
Now, so that we make progress, Senior Counsel has raised an important matter, which matter has been responded to by the Counsel for the National Assembly. Now, honorable senators, there is an affidavit sworn by one Jomo Mushira, who had been listed to appear as a witness for and on behalf of the National Assembly. The National Assembly has closed its case without calling that particular witness, and yet there's an affidavit that the counsel for the Deputy President will not have an opportunity to cross-examine. The question, as you retire at the end of this hearing, is to look at the probative value of that particular document. Senior Counsel Paul Mwite, your point is valid. The senators have noted.
Because this is an important, very important institution with a judicial function, court of record, permit me to put on record that there is a slight distinction between counsel and the client. I have absolute full faith in honorable senators, including my friend the senator for Nairobi, but I am carrying out instructions of my client.
Yeah, so I've given direction on this particular matter. Let us move forward. Having said that, Senior Counsel Paul Mwite, if you're ready, you may now usher in your witness.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, we are anxiously waiting for the Deputy President. My colleagues can stand here, can stand in. For me, let me make inquiries and find out where he's held up. We certainly wish to call him as a witness.
Very well. Yes, what is the point of procedure, Senator Boni?
Unprecedented, to the extent that when we stand down business in this house, it normally arises from a communication from the chair that you are temporarily, for a specific time, suspending the proceedings. You have not done this, and we are seated in the chamber. The mess is in place. I do not know whether we want this to be the new standard, Mr. Speaker. Could you guide us? We have no idea how long we're going to wait. And time is running, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, at the rise of the House at 1:15, I made it clear that upon resumption, the Deputy President was going to take the stand. We came in here, I communicated the program for the afternoon, and I said we will execute it with military precision, owing to the fact that we need to conclude business today. Senior Counsel called me, indicated that he cannot get hold of his client. That is not the concern of this House. This is true. So time is running. Order, Honorable Senator. Order. The floor is available to the Deputy President and no other senator or
Yes,